Hey guys, it is November the 22nd, 2024, and I hope everybody's been having a great day so far. It is Friday, so TGIF to everybody out there, and I hope everybody has some awesome plans for tonight. And I hope those don't include drinking. But it is a freezing cold day here in South Carolina today. It's been raining, on and off now for like 2 straight weeks. And as soon as we get a break from the rain, it is freezing cold. I woke up this morning and it was 35 degrees outside. And it's like yesterday, it was pretty warm. And I don't know, I guess we have a cold front coming through, but it's rather chilly. I just got back from MUSC. I had to go have CAT scans done today. They're checking the flow through my tips. So I'll be having a virtual appointment with my doctor on Monday. I speak with my interventional radiologist, and they did the CAT scans today with contrast and all that stuff. So we'll see, because they had to go through, when I had that surgery done a couple weeks ago, I had a total occlusion in that, and they had to go through and clean that out. So what they're checking for is just to make sure that the flow is still okay and there's, no blockages going on in there. My fingers are crossed. I really hope that there's no issues. I do not want to have another surgery anytime soon. I hope that was it for quite a while. But we'll just see. Like I said, I speak with my doctor on Monday, and we'll see. I'll be speaking to him that morning, so I'll be letting you guys know on Monday what he says, and hopefully everything looks good, and I can just keep moving forward from here. But while my mom took me today to go get my scans done, and while we were on the way back and on the way there, we had plenty of time to talk. And we often talk about, back in the day when I used to drink. And today we were having that conversation again. As a matter of fact, on our way back this afternoon, we were talking about, when I used to be a drinker. And I was just talking about stuff that, that I don't miss about it anymore, and how much better that my life has become since I've gotten sober, because it has. In so many ways. I could sit here and just talk on and on and on about all the reasons that my life has improved since I've gotten sober. But one of the things that I started thinking about and talking with Mom about on the way back today was just that, I don't have to worry about that feeling anymore in the morning. And I've spoken about this so many times on here, but like I say all the time, I get inspiration for these videos just in my day-to-day activities, and I got inspired to talk about this today. That feeling that you get the next morning after you've been drinking a lot, like especially if you've were out partying the night before, and I used to do that a lot. I did a lot of partying back in the day, and that feeling the next day when you wake up and you're all discombobulated, you don't know what's going on, you just kind of wake up and you're confused. There were so many times, I'd pass out on a couch or some odd place and had no idea how I ended up in that spot. There were times I woke up on the floor. There were times I woke up on the couch. I woke up in a chair. There were times I woke up in my wife's vehicle because, let's say we went to my parents' house for dinner that night, and I would get tanked, and she would try to wake me up when we would get home, and I would just be passed out. She would leave me in the car. She couldn't pick me up and carry me inside. I weighed 250 pounds back then. I was a big guy, and she'd try to wake me up, and if she couldn't get me up, she'd just leave me in the vehicle, and I would wake up at some point in the middle of the night, or I'd wake up the next morning and would be super confused and wouldn't know how I got where I was at. So many mornings of waking up, and the first thing I would look for is, where's my phone? And I couldn't find it. First thing I would look for is, where's my wallet? There were 3 things that I looked for every time I woke up in the morning: was my phone, my wallet, and my keys. And there were so many times I'd wake up in the morning, I couldn't find either of the 3, or I'd find one and I couldn't find the other 2, or, figure out the combination. It was always something. And I would have left my phone somewhere, or I can't tell you how many times I went to a bar and left my ID, or I left my debit card there. Because a lot of times, you go to the bar and they'll start a tab, but they'll take your debit card and they'll put it back behind the bar and they hold on to it before, until you leave. And when you go to leave, then they'll pay your bill. They'll take your card and cash you out unless you tell them you want to pay it another way. But there were a lot of nights where, something happened and I just ended up all of a sudden just leaving or something. Somebody say, hey, let's go to this other bar, and next thing you know, I just left and I left my debit card there, and my tab got paid, but I didn't know where my card was, so I'd have to backtrack and go to another bar, go to all the bars that I went to the night before. And man, that is such a sucky thing to do the next day. You're going from bar to bar trying to figure out what bar you left your debit card in, or your ID, because a lot of times they'll take your ID and hold that as a tab. But stuff like that, it used to happen to me all the time. But more or less as well is just that feeling of not remembering what happened the night before, just waking up and you're like, really confused. You wake up, you've got this pounding headache, you feel horrible. And this used to happen to me all the time. I've talked about this, but I used to black out almost every single night. And when I would, I'd wake up the next morning, I wouldn't remember anything hardly from the night before. And there were so many nights as well, or so many mornings when I'd wake up and, I'd go to tell my wife goodbye and she'd be upset with me, and I would say, what happened? And she'd say, well, we'll talk about it this, tonight whenever we get home from work. And then, I'd have to spend the whole entire day contemplating on what had happened, and I wouldn't remember, and I'd have to wait to speak to my wife for her to tell me, you don't remember doing this or that, or dropping this all over the floor, or whatever it was. The anxiety that I used to have from that all the time, it was horrible, and it was all the time. So many days of not remembering what had happened the night before and trying to figure it out, and I just couldn't, and my wife wouldn't talk to me until I got home from work that night. In the anticipation of waiting to get my butt chewed out from her, I knew I'd done something. I just couldn't remember what it was. And a lot of times, too, it was just because I got so drunk the night before, I just looked ridiculous and my wife would be upset with me. There was also a lot of, I lied a lot and said, I'm not drinking liquor. And, I would have beer in the refrigerator and I would tell her, that's all I'm drinking is beer tonight. And, I would keep having to go to the bathroom. And every time I'd go to the bathroom, I'd sneak off and take a couple shots. And I always had to close the door and go in there and take a couple shots so that nobody could see what I was doing. When normally, if I had to go to the bathroom, I'd leave the door open. It's not, it was so obvious what I was doing, but I thought that I was fooling everybody. I was fooling no one but myself. But, the point of today's video is that just for any of you guys out there who have gotten sober, just think back to, how you don't have to deal with that anymore. You don't have to worry about, waking up the next morning and not remembering what you did the night before, or what you might have said to somebody. Oh my gosh, so many nights of laying in the bed, trying to go to sleep at night, and I would lay there thinking about something that I'd said to somebody, a few nights before or the night before or whatever, because I would say ridiculous stuff to people all the time. Just think about that you don't have to worry about that anymore. You don't have to worry about waking up in odd places at somebody's house that you don't know who it is, or, just so many different things. Waking up in a car in a parking lot somewhere where you have no idea where you are. You don't have to worry about that anymore. Those days are over with. And, waking up in the morning, you actually feel good when you wake up first thing. You don't have this pounding headache and the nausea and you just feel horrible, and the diarrhea and all that stuff. You're waking up in the morning and you feel like death rolled over. Now you wake up in the morning, you feel great. You get your cup of coffee and get your day going. Just think about how much more productive you are now that you're sober. And, there are so many days I could think back on that I was just a piece of what at work. I went in there and it was just really, I was just trying to get through the day. I wasted away so many years, so much productivity that I could have been producing. I could have been doing such a better job. And the thing is, I did a good job. I just could have been doing that much better. And I didn't realize back then how much alcohol was really holding me back in so many different areas of my life. Not just work, but my family. The relationships that I could have had with my kids, the things that I could have been doing with them. Just think about that for yourself, now that you're sober, and just think about the amount of things that you get done around your house and the things that you get done with your family, just the time that you spend with them. And it's actually productive. You're having actual conversations with people. It's not that, what I'm talking about, bar talk. That is pointless conversation. It's the same thing over and over with the same people. And if you guys went out to bars, you know what I'm talking about. You'd always see the same people there. Everybody always looks so sad at the bar. And everybody's so lonely there. You have the same group of people that meets up every single night and does the same thing every single night, closing down the bars and going, heading home at 2 a.m. and everybody's scrambling, trying to figure out who's going to give each other a ride, who's the soberest to drive that night, or, everybody's trying to get a cab home, or, just all that stuff. You don't have to worry about any of that anymore. It's all a thing of the past. And our lives are just so much better. Just the clarity in life, I think, is the point of today's video. The clarity that we get when we get sober, it's beautiful. The amount of clarity that we have, just in every aspect of our life. Productivity at work, the clarity that we have just in our thoughts. The clarity that we have with our family, the conversations that we have. When somebody calls, you actually remember that you spoke to somebody. How many times did somebody say, do you remember our conversation that we had the other day? And you don't remember even speaking to them, because that used to happen to me all the time. Somebody would call me and I didn't even remember even having a conversation with them. Just the clarity in life in general. It's just so much better. And that clarity when you wake up in the morning, that you're not foggy. Maybe you're a little bit tired. Maybe you had a long week or something like that. Or maybe you have a cold or something like that. But that's about the worst that you're going to feel. I can't remember who it was that said it. There's a famous quote. What's that guy's name? I do remember who said it. I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now. Very famous guy from back in the day. Anyway, he said, his quote was, he used to drink martinis all the time. And he said, and I know there's like a dispute if he's actually the one that said this, or I think there might be somebody else that might have said it. But he said that he feels bad for people that don't drink, because when they wake up in the morning, that's the best that they're going to feel all day long. And his point was, is that drinkers, I guess, you wake up in the morning and you feel horrible, and then you start to feel better throughout the day as the day goes on. But, that's so untrue. You wake up in the morning, you feel great, you're refreshed, your mind's clear, and you can get your day started and be so productive, even if it's your day off. Just the things that you can get done when you don't feel horrible all day long. And you don't have to worry about taking ibuprofen all throughout the day because your head's just pounding. You don't have to worry about continuing to look at that clock because you're just waiting to get off work so you can get that hair of the dog to feel better, to get rid of that hangover. Just every aspect of it. You don't have to worry about trying to get off work by 7 o'clock or 6:30 because the liquor store closes at 7. So you know that, the liquor store is 5 minutes down the road and you have just enough time to leave work to hurry up, get to the liquor store and rush in there and get your bottle before they close down. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff anymore. You don't have to worry about stopping by the gas station every single night to get that 12-pack of beer or whatever it is, seeing the same clerk that you see every single day and, making up excuses. Oh, I'm not getting this for myself. I'm getting this for my brother, or I'm picking this up for somebody else. The lies that we tell, we think that we're fooling somebody, and we're not fooling anybody. There's just so many aspects of this, of getting sober, that it just makes our life so much better. It really does. So like I said, I think the point of today's video is just the clarity that we get when we get sober. It's beautiful. The thing to me, and I think the one of the best things about being sober is the mornings for me. I love the mornings. I absolutely love morning time. I love getting up early. I like seeing the sun come up. I love getting my cup of coffee before the sun comes up. I love thinking about all the things I can get accomplished for the day, all the things that I want to get done for the day. And I've got the whole day ahead of me, and I don't feel bad. Back when I was a drinker, I would lay in the bed, half the day just trying to recoup from the night before. And the only thing that ever could bring me back to baseline was having another drink. And every single time I did that, it ruined my whole entire day. I would have all these grandiose ideas and plans for that day. And, I'd wake up, I'd feel horrible. I'd have to take a couple ibuprofen, maybe some Pepsid AC or some Tums. And then I would try my best not to drink. I would say, I'm not drinking until noon, or I'm not drinking until 5. But 8 o'clock in the morning, I was already opening up the bottle, pouring myself a drink. That first drink went down like it was nothing. I would gag and choke on it while I forced it down, but I would get it down. And then, normally I'd puke it back up, and then go pour myself another drink. And before you know it, I was 3-4 drinks in, especially on my days off, and I was pouring stiff ones on those days. And, my day was ruined. By 11 o'clock in the morning, I was already halfway seeing double. And my day was done. I already knew. There were so many days of me sitting on my back porch just shaking my head as I realized I overdid it again. My whole entire day is ruined today. I had all these great things I was going to get done, and none of them were going to get accomplished because it's 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm sitting back there smoking a cigarette with a drink in my hand, and I'm already 3 sheets to the wind. It was only a couple hours away before I was going to be passed out again, laying in my bed, and my wife would come home and discover me in the bed passed out at 6:30 in the afternoon or in the evening. The clarity that we get when we get sober is absolutely beautiful, absolutely amazing. And for any of you guys out there that have gotten sober, congratulations. I'm proud of you. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. That clarity that we get when we get sober. Just every aspect of our life gets clear. For any of you guys that wear glasses, you know what I'm talking about. When you don't have your glasses on, especially like first thing in the morning when you wake up, before you put your glasses on, just everything looks foggy. You can't see anything. You put those glasses on and all of a sudden you can see. It's like a night and day difference. And that's exactly what it's like when you get sober. It's like walking around your whole entire life, with horrible vision and not being able to see, and then going to an eye doctor. It's like going to the eye doctor is like finally getting sober. And you get that first pair of glasses, and all of a sudden you can see everything again. You can see the leaves on all the trees, the pine needles on the trees, the leaves on the ground, the rocks on the ground, the fine details and everything, the bark. I mean, just every aspect of life that you never could see before. And for me, I haven't worn glasses my whole entire life. My vision started getting really bad right before I got sick. And for a good period of time there, I was having a really hard time seeing things. Like, I couldn't see the leaves on any of the trees for a long time. I just couldn't see the fine details in anything. Everything was a blur. I couldn't read any street signs. I couldn't read a stop sign. I mean, I couldn't see it. And when I got my first pair of glasses, I put those on, and all of a sudden I could see everything again. I could see everything. And that's what getting sober is like. It's exactly like that. You go from not being able to see to seeing the clearest you've ever saw in your life. So, guys, I'm going to go ahead and hop off here for today. If you're thinking about getting sober, I'm telling you, it's true. It absolutely is. Clarity in so many aspects. If you're thinking about getting sober, if you've been drinking for a long time, please speak with a doctor first, because there can be some pretty bad consequences that can happen if you've been drinking for a really long period of time. And you really need to speak with a doctor. They might need to help you through with some medications, because you can have seizures and stuff like that. Please do it with a doctor, a doctor advising you on what to do. But if you've spoken with a doctor and you're thinking about getting sober, give it a shot. Just try it out. It's going to be a little bit uncomfortable in the beginning, but if you give it a little bit of time, I'm telling you, your life will be so much better, so much more clarity. Guys, I hope you have a great rest of your Friday. I'll see you in tomorrow's video. I love y'all so much. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.